I request you to continue your presentation. Thank you, sir.
Yes. Thank you very much. Thank you one and all. Andarki munduga namaskaram. I am very happy that I am the product of PVKN Government Degree College. నా గత స్మృతులను నెమరు వేసుకోవడానికి నేను చదివిన కాలేజీకి నా తోటి సహాయంగా ఒక ఉడత సహాయంగా నేను ఈరోజు ఒక రిసోర్స్ పర్సన్గా మీ ముందు నిలవడం మీకు నా ఇన్పుట్స్ ఇవ్వడం చాలా ఆనందంగా ఉంది. At the outset, I am very happy and very thankful to the organizers of this 5-day UGC sponsored online and offline faculty development program on outcome-based education, teaching, learning, and evaluation. The motto behind this program is a transformational perspective on quality and mobility in higher education. At the outset, my dear friends, I am very privileged and very happy in expressing my gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Sri Venkateswara University, Professor K. Raja Reddy Garu, and K. Jaishankar Reddy Garu, and my beloved friend, philosopher, Dr. Anand Reddy Garu, the principal of PVKN Degree College, and my dear and respected Madam, Dr. Sujana Papani, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany, PVKN Government Degree College, and Dr. T. Malati Gabriel, and the co-conveners, and Dr. S.V. Ramesh Kumar, and the total organizing committee, Dr. Mohano Behra, Dr. L.M.D. Batshu, Dr. C. Mira Saheb, Dr. A. Sashikala, Dr. Sri P. Ravi, and M. Samuel John. It gives me immense pleasure, and I thank the authorities of our university, our Vice Chancellor, Dr. P. Kaliraj, and our head of the department, Dr. G. Singarvelu, for allowing me to share my ideas with you all. So thank you once again to the conveners and to all the participants present here. A very good afternoon to all. Here, the topic assigned to me is nothing but the identifying the course outcomes and teaching learning process. My dear friends, before going to this outcome-based education, let me have some share with you. Why? Because every day, right from 26, you are being associated with these words, outcome-based education and other things. As a matter of thing, I would like to tell what the Indian education system is facing and what the India's higher education challenges are and what the weaknesses we are facing and other things. So after that, then we will go to the outcome-based education and we will discuss in detail. Now I'll share my PPT to you, my dear friends. Is my PPT visible, ma'am?
Yes, sir. Sir, you keep it in presentation mode, sir.
Yes.
Sir, press F5, sir.
Yes, I'll do. Yes. So it is identifying the course outcomes and teaching learning activities. It is the most wonderful topic which I feel to have an opportunity to share with you all. Unfortunately, I could not able to meet you in person and could not able to step into my college and to have a view around my college and to share with you all. So because we are preoccupied with some programs and election duties and other things. So my dear friends, the Indian higher education system is the world's third largest in terms of students, next to China and United States. It is all a known fact to you all. So the India's higher education sector has witnessed a tremendous increase in the number of universities, university level institutions and colleges since independence. It is the most important thing which we have to understand is we are having many challenges in India's higher education sector. The most challenging challenge is nothing but GER, gross enrollment ratio of our thing. So the gross enrollment ratio, have you seen, in Indian higher education is only 25.2%, which is quite low as compared to the developed and other major equity. So these are all the challenges which we are facing. And the topic which is outcome based education focuses on is very, very important to share with you all. Our India is having the greater expectations. Our higher education is having greater expectations on what to do the nature of education to the nation. It is the heart and soul of every problem of a country, and it is also an inevitable solution to all the problems. So this higher education, HE we call it as, it is the heart and soul. As Dr. Abdul Kalam always focuses on, low aim is always a crime. If your aim is low, you cannot achieve anything. So we should have the greater expectations. In order to have greater expectations, we have the only source, the higher education. The total benefits to society from education are greater than the sum of what individuals earn as a result of their educational attainment. So it is a long gestation period you can take. And these are all the self-correcting institutions like judiciary, media, and other things. And it needs the inward looking and outward looking. And it has averse to change and make it himself. Madam, is it slide moving?
Sir, we are in higher education, greater expectations.
Yes, madam, the second slide is not moving.
No, sir. Sir, you press escape, sir.
Yes, I'm doing.
Sir, you stop sharing and again do it again.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Fine.
Yes, the challenges in our higher education system is nothing but it is the increasing enrollment without compromising the quality. This is the most important point which I want to focus. We are increasing enrollment without compromising the quality of education. And at the same time, we are ensuring equity without compromising the excellence. So these two are very, very important in making our higher education to stand at the pinnacle of our nation. And another challenge which we are facing is we are promoting relevance without compromising the ideals of higher education. And also we are ensuring excellence for all without creating few islands of excellence. These are all the challenges each and every academician is having in their mind. Each one of you, me, yourself, and every participant present there are having idea about all these challenges where the higher education is facing. And we are another challenge we face is we are promoting alternative means of teaching by exploiting technology. So it is a very wonderful experience we extended last year during the COVID-19 period. we promoted alternative means of teaching. So instead of offline teaching, we went to online teaching, and we faced a lot of challenges, lot of problem, and a lot of academic stress and anxiety and mental conditions, health conditions from all parts of the globe. And we are promoting competition without compromising the role of government. These are all the important challenges which we are having in our higher education. Again, it is didn't pass. Yes. And as we see that the higher education is a process of teaching, training, and learning, especially in schools or colleges, to improve our knowledge and to develop skills. Higher education totally focuses on knowledge, skills, and attitudes. The knowledge can be organized into compartments, taught as courses, and each knowledge area has 4 components, as we know that, as invariant and core basics, exploding volume of empirical knowledge, constantly changing applications, rapidly changing tools, and empirical knowledge expands. So all these things which we can see. So our education system is having some weakness in the structure, lack of fundamentals from the part of students. Students, after coming to the colleges, they are not having the proper fundamentals to reach the higher education, and the limited application experience, lack of career goals, lack of basic English communication. The most important aspect present day, that lack of basic communication, and lack of practice of aptitude tests, and awareness on skill set expectations. These are all the weaknesses in our system, and non-availability of good mathematics teachers, good science teachers in school level, and non-availability bandwidth for web-based learning, and so on. We are having all these things. And what is the scope for improvement? What is the scope for improvement? We can say is there any scope? Is there any scope to look at your efforts in the framework? It is the only thing is the outcome-based education. We can review our efforts by adopting Bloom's taxonomy. Right from school education to the university education, Benjamin S. Bloom has given a wonderful objectives on his teaching attitudes. So every individual, every domain should have its own importance. He based on 3 systems: cognitive domain, affective domain, and psychomotor domain. So the Bloom's taxonomy almost all focuses on things is it characterizes as a set of models utilized to categorize the learning objectives on the basis of levels of complexity, which we have to remember that if you, as a teacher, if you want to teach a subject to the students, you should have all these ideas keep in mind. You should have the overall effort on these Bloom's taxonomy of these objectives. The objectives are covered under the domain of cognitive, affective, and psychomotor. In traditional education, the main emphasis remains at the cognitive domain and is commonly used to organize the learning objectives. And what do you mean by objective and what do you mean by aim? What is the difference between aim and objective, which we have to understand, because we don't feel the difference between aim and objective, but there is a hairline difference between aim and objective, which focuses the view of the teacher to accomplish his goals so that he can able to reach the aim. The cognitive domain is considered as the knowledge-based domain. As you all know that the cognitive domain is considered as the knowledge-based domain, which is further broken down into 6 levels. As remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating, and creating. These 6 components has been accustomed in the domain of cognitive. The first level of knowledge, why I am telling you, because This outcome-based education is nothing but a old wine in a new bottle. We are having a set of Bloom's taxonomy objectives, and we are not properly making use of that. If you want to write a lesson plan in a school level, the teacher should have all these domains in his mind to prepare a lesson plan. So that is his outcome. Similarly, for the students also should have some outcome based after their education, after getting their graduation, what next? These are the main components, main objectives based in outcome based education, which has been taken from the Bloom's taxonomy of the objectives. The first level of knowledge constitutes recognizing or recalling the facts, terms, concepts, without necessarily considering their meanings. So here, at this level, the child or the student or the individual will never bother about the meanings. They will just gain the knowledge, and its characteristics may constitute knowledge of specifics, knowledge of methods of dealing with the specifics, knowledge and abstractions. So here, this differs from individual to individual. The perception moves from one teacher to another teacher. If there is a same content which has been taught by me or by X or Y or Z, though the content is same, the way of teaching, the method of teaching definitely differs. The next level of cognitive domain involves comprehension, which engages understanding of facts through managing, evaluating, and translating. The level of application includes utilizing the acquired knowledge to active learner. Here, my dear friends, we will focus the student. After these two levels, the student then attaches a value to the acquired knowledge in the valuing level. The organizing level allows the student to arrange various values and ideas in a composite manner. In this level, student starts comparing, forming relations, and explaining what has been learned. In the final level of characterizing, the students try to formulate abstract knowledge. So these are the various steps in these thing. The another domain of Bloom's taxonomy is the psychomotor domain, which proceeds from simple to complex levels, starting from assessment of perception, guidance sets, mechanism, complex overt response, adaptation, and origination. So the perception level is defined as ability to utilize sensory cues to direct motor activities. As Mahatma Gandhi rightly said, education is related with 3H process. 3H means head, heart, and hand. These three are nothing but the three domains given by Benjamin Bloom. Head stands for cognitive domain, another H stands for heart, affective domain, and another H stands for hand, that is psychomotor domain. These domains will have the basic important thing to frame these objectives of this outcome-based education. And here I can able to say that teach and learn are the two simple words which is everywhere. It means same and it spells same also. See, teaching and learning are involved in together. It is the two sides of a same coin. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. So we are in 21st century. We should have the idea of our prosper projectives. I believe that every human soul is teaching something to someone nearly every minute here in mortality. So every human soul on this earth is teaching something, and at the same time, every human soul is learning something. By learning, you will teach. By teaching, you will learn. So this is the most important thing. And what is the mission, vision and mission for OBE? The mission states that what the institution is all about. It is, what is the institution is all about? I am in one university. What is the vision of my university? What is the mission of my university for OBE? Its purpose and continue and solidity, its core values and its reason for being. This may be stated in the documents that created it, but this may also have been redefined in the course of its history. The vision in it is a picture of the long-term future. I am having a vision. I have one mission. To accomplish that vision and mission, I must have some action. These are the three important words said by Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam. Everyone should have vision and everyone should have a mission to reach that vision. In order to have these things, one should have the clear action. So your action is nothing but how to frame the outcome-based education. The institution then moves towards the future by achieving particular goals within a time frame using appropriate strategies. What is outcome-based education? This is a basic question which we have to understand and answer to this. It is an educational theory Hello? Hello?
Sir, tell us, sir.
Madam, some disturbance. I got some message. Only 1 or 2 minutes is left for my presentation.
No, sir. I'll just check the chat box, sir. Nothing, sir. Somebody might have personally messaged you.
And my share option is also gone.
Sir, it's coming, sir, for us.
Here I could not get, madam.
Sir, would you like to log out and log in again, sir? You and we are able to see you also, sir. Take time back. Is it okay, sir?
1 minute, madam. 1 minute, madam. Yes, madam. Is it okay, ma'am?
Yes,
Am I
sir.
audible?
Kindly proceed. Yes, sir. Clearly.
Yes. So, what is outcome-based education? It is an educational theory that bases each part of an educational system around goals or outcomes. That is, the student ought to have achieved these goals or outcomes by the end of the educational experience. So it is the most important theory. It is an educational theory given by William Spady in the year 1994. There are some theories. Already this outcome-based education has been started in early 80s also, but we don't have much idea and importance to have all these things. So we can able to tell that when we are having the educational system with the goals or outcomes, the student ought to have achieved these goals or outcomes by the end of the educational experiences. It is an educational process which is based on trying to achieve certain specified outcomes in terms of individual student learning. And it is a method of teaching that is clearly focusing and organizing everything in an educational system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. So in Western system of education, we have job-oriented courses. We have outcome-based education system was there. So what is that education to a base system and what is outcome-based education system? So education to a base a system defining, deciding and structuring, focusing and operating what the system does actually. Virtually all components of the higher education system are defined, structured and operated with the time as the key factor. So this outcome-based education gives priority to ends, purposes, learning, accomplishments, and results. And it is a culminating demonstration of learning. And what is my demonstration? You can say what the students will actually do, not based on the academic contents, but based on complex role performance. So this is most important thing every institution should keep in mind. So what the students will actually do, it should not be based on academic contents, but based on complex role performance. For that only we are having industry 4.0 or 5.0 system of educations. To achieve the intended outcomes, there are checkpoints in between called enabling outcomes and benchmarks. In OBE, product defines the process, results-oriented thinking is promoted, and it is a fitness for practice and education for capability. OBE, as per SPADI, focuses on the constraint for the students to learn, then organize the curriculum, instruction, and assessment in that order to make sure this learning ultimately happens with the help of following 4 basic principles. The first principle which we can focus is helping the students to develop knowledge, skills, and personalities that will enable them to achieve the clearly articulated intended outcomes. And also, the second principle is it defines plainly the intended outcomes that the students are to achieve at the end of the program. And it sets challenging standards of performance in order to encourage the student to engage deeply in what they are learning. And it strives to provide expanded opportunities for all students. It is generally understood from 2 approaches. One is the approach which we can say from the 2 approaches is transitional, one which focuses on mastery of subject related academic outcomes, and the second one is transformational approach, which is related directly to students' future, which they have such as being productive in a profession with the social concern. I hope this 5-day induction program is meant on transformational approach and perspective. So one we having a transitional approach and the second one we are having the transformational approach. So these will give a framework to this outcome based education. So this OBE is education, what the student should be able to do. And the second is how to make the student achieve the outcome. And the third one is the how to measure what the student has achieved in his learning and teaching. And finally, the assessment. Here, we should the system of teaching and learning. There are 7 steps in the teaching, we can say. Who is to teach, whom to teach, what to teach, why to teach, how to teach, when to teach, and where to teach. Similarly, the same 7 steps are also there for learning. Who is to learn, from whom to learn, what to learn, why to learn, how to learn, where to learn, and when to learn. These 7 important principles should be in the mind of constructing a OBE framework. What the student should be able to do, there's a basic step. When we have our traditional methods at the school level, as a teacher, when I entered into the class, I must have some content in my hand and with have some methods in my mind. So I have to coordinate these 2 things and I have to teach. So my teaching is over, eating and vomiting. The teaching methodology should not be having the teaching and eating and vomiting. We must see the student how he is going to perform after he attains his graduation, after he attains his schooling. This is the most important idea to overcome the irregularities in education. The first one is what the student should be able to do and how to make the student to achieve the outcome and how to measure what the student has achieved. We always say, there is a saying that what is the role of the teacher? The role of the teacher is to, in teaching, should come down to the level of the student. That is wrong in my point of view. The teacher should make the student to his level and then only he can able to share his ideas and inputs in teaching values. And all these 4 components must be structured in framing the outwork. And there should be attributes for graduates also. What must be graduate attributes? The graduate attributes are examples of the attributes expected of a graduate from an accredited program. If a student is accredited from a program, what are his attributes? What are his things? Competency in the domain area and confidence as reflected by competency, effective communication, right kind of attitude for hard work, aptitude to excel in whatever work they do. These important components, one has the confidence which is related to the competency, effective communication, right kind of attitude for hard work, and aptitude to excel in whatever work they do. So every graduate should have some attributes to in the domain area and also in the confidence areas also. And every student should have the congruence, that is the common in nature, and creativity through critical thinking. This leads to innovation. I must have some creativity. I should not think like others. I should not think common. I should have a different perspective. I should have a different ideology. I must not be one in all. I must be one in one only. So these are the important areas which the graduate should attribute. And apart from that, he should have some ethics and human values. This is the most important thing which we are lacking. The students of present generation are not following these ethics and human values. Of course, they are very competent in their domain area and they are very confident in their competency and they are very good in effective communication and they are having very good attitude towards hard work and they can excel in anywhere in their field. But these ethics and human values, they are lacking. It is the duty of the teacher, it is the duty of the faculty to inculcate some ethical values and human values to them and social interaction also. As far the society is concerned, the students of present generation are not having this social interaction. They are for themselves. You take any field, right from the what you can say, this software field to the higher level, no student is having social interaction, and they are not, environment sensitivity and sustainability is also one of the most important attribute why a graduate must have. Every graduate should have an environment sensitivity and sustainability for that. And overall, the graduate should have a good citizenship and global competitiveness. He must compete with the globe. He must he must prove himself to stand at the pinnacle of the globe for all these things. For all these things, our education system should have the reforms, and we should focus on the designing of curriculum. The designing of curriculum which makes differences among students' competences must be challenging, and it must be achievable. Let us see how the curriculum is. Is the curriculum is making the child to compete in a challenging way? Let us put a question to ourselves. If it is not, let us make our curriculum designed to the need of the student. That's why the curriculum should make, and curriculum will definitely makes difference among students' competences, which is challenging and which can be achievable. And there are multiple intelligence to all these students, which we can identify as cognitive intelligence, emotional intelligence, social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and moral intelligence, environmental intelligence, and innovative intelligence, and digital intelligence. This is for 21st century which we are having. Every individual is having cognitive intelligence, because mother is the first teacher to the student, to the child. So that the student will have this cognitive intelligence and emotional intelligence, and these we should focus on social intelligence, spiritual intelligence, and moral intelligence. We have the design of the curriculum should have the multiple intelligences should be included and to be incorporated. And the curriculum design must base on this Bloom's taxonomy. One is the remember, understanding, application, analyzation, evaluation, creation. The student begins from the most basic level, remembering what has been taught, onto the higher levels as learning progresses. So remembering, that is a base for the knowledge. When I remember what about my thing, then only I can able to go for application. So knowledge is the base for any achievement. Without knowledge, understanding is not done. Without understanding, application is not done. Without application, execution is not done. So in order to achieve all these things, we should have the basis. The student begins his level from remembering what has been taught onto the higher levels as the learning progresses. And there are some keys of OBE system, developing a clear set of learning outcomes around which all of the system's components can be focused. We can also establish the conditions and opportunities within the system that enable and encourage all students to achieve these essential outcomes. And we are having learners to do more important things with what they know is a major step beyond knowing itself. And the goals and objectives take new importance as they are more explicit, defined in terms of actual competencies. And while constructing the outcome-based education for any course or for any program, we have to keep all these components in mind. One is the vision and mission of the institute where you are working, and the vision and mission of the department where you are appointed, and the PEOs, we call it as program educational objectives, and the graduate attitudes, and the program outcomes and the course outcomes, and program specific criteria, vision and mission of the institute. And what is vision and mission? The vision is a picture of the long term which of future, taking into consideration the institute's mission and what aspires to be. The mission states what the institution is all about, its purpose and identity, its core values, its reason for being. This may be stated in the document that created, but this may also have been redefined in the course of its history. See, I have gone through the brochure of our PVKN Degree College shared by Dr. Sujana ma'am. I specifically felt very happy about the vision and mission of our PVKN Government Degree College. When we were studying there, this college was totally a government degree college, which was under the management of Papudesi Venkata Krishna Manayudu. That is expansion of PVKN, Papudesi Venkata Krishna Manayudu Government Degree College. So this PVKN college is having some vision. This PVKN college is having some mission. So every institute should have, every designer should have vision and mission about their institution. Then the institution moves towards this future by achieving particular goals within a time frame using appropriate strategies. And now I am in Bharatiya University. Now I can definitely say the vision of our university. Our vision is to provide internationally comparable quality higher education to the youth. This is our vision. Our vision is to provide internationally comparable quality education, higher education to the youth. And we are striving very hard, and we stand 13 in NIRF rankings, and we are having 885th in our global standards. The aim is not only focused on imparting subject knowledge and skills, but also to mold the students with better conduct and character committed to the societal needs and national development. This is one of the major aim of our university, which we are focusing. And the motto of our university is educate to elevate. The university strives to realize the vision of India and excel in promoting and protecting the rich heritage of our past and secular ideals. And the mission of our university is to be innovative and inclusive and international university. So we are committed to excellence in teaching, research and knowledge, transfer and to serve the social, cultural and economic needs of the nation. To innovate and offer educational programs in various disciplines with the synergistic interaction with the industry and the society. Why I mean to tell all these things is, when you are in your institution, when you are in any institute, you have to understand the vision, mission of that institution. Then only you can able to design the outcome-based education outcomes. To impart the knowledge and skills to students, equipping them to be ready to face the emerging challenges to the knowledge area, and also to provide the equal opportunity to women students and prepare them to be equal partners in meeting the scientific and technological demands of the nation. To contribute to the advancement of knowledge through applied research leading to newer products and processes. To prepare the students to work for societal transformation with commitment to justice and equality. When you are having all these aims and objectives in your mind about your vision and mission of the institution, definitely you can frame the outcomes also accordingly to inculcate on students a global vision with skillful thoughts. And in our Department of Education, we are offering Master of Education programs, and we also have some vision what to develop and what to inculcate. And the same motto is educate to elevate. The department aims to train a new generation of scholars in education who will contribute to the domain of enhanced education. This is the most important aim which we are focusing for. And the mission of our department is to be innovative, committed to excellence in teaching, research and knowledge, to impart knowledge, skills to students and equip them to face the emerging challenges. These are all wonderful things which you are focusing on. When you are having all these things, definitely you can go for this structure, the framework, PEO, programmed educational objectives and programmed outcomes. And the base is the curriculum and teaching learning and the course outcomes. So this is a triangular process, or this is a triangular process when you are having, as we know that the relationship between teacher, student, and the society, it is a tripolar activity. You can teach from society, you can teach from the teacher, a teacher can teach you to the society, a teacher can teach to the student, or student can teach to the society, or student can teach to the teacher, like that. It is a tripolar activity which we can focus on. And what are the program educational objectives? Now we are going to that main part. The program educational objectives are the broad statements that describe the career and the professional accomplishments that the program is preparing the graduates to achieve within the first few years. PEOs are measured after 3 years of graduation or 5 years of undergraduation. So this is the most important thing. What is your educational objective? Again, we have to understand the difference between objective and aim. What is our aim? As a teacher, my aim is to make a good citizen to the student, a good citizen to the nation. Is it possible? It may possible or may not be possible. Then what is my ultimate objective? My ultimate objective is to make my student to get through in my subject. So with these objectives, I can able to reach the aim also. Similarly, here the program educational objectives describes the career and professional accomplishments of the program is preparing the graduates to achieve within the first few years. This is what our Prime Minister is focusing for. Nava India, End India, End India he is calling for. So what the graduates to achieve within the first few years, and it is measured after 3 years of undergraduation or 5 years of graduation, which we are having these ITP programs and other things also. They are in an order to measure the effectiveness of the program and to check whether it has prepared the students to deal with the real world, where they could apply and use the skills and knowledge they have learned to good use. So as a part of education, when we are teaching to our MEd students, we measure the effectiveness of the program, and we always check whether it has prepared the students to deal with the real world, whether they can able to apply the skills and knowledge, what they have learned to make the good use of their learning. And the program education objectives should be consistent with the mission of the institution. As I rightly said, we should not deviate from the mission of the institution and the vision of the institution also. It should be consistent with the mission of the institution and the vision of the institution also. And the PEOs can be measured by a PEO and PEO matrix. It is a matrix structure, I'll tell you that. And PEOs should evolve through constant feedback from alumni, students, industry, and management. No, these are the revolutionary changes in our education system. Now we are having industry 4.0 and we are moving towards the 5.0 education system. And PEOs for arts and sciences. So what are the programmed educational objectives for arts and sciences? We have to think about that. Within a few years of obtaining an undergraduate degree in arts and science, the students will be able to do. So this we have to keep in mind. So, okay, after 5 years, after very few years, after some years, a graduate degree is coming out from the institution in arts and science, what the students will be able to do. The one of the PEO 1, we can call it as, it says that technical or subject proficiency. The programmed educational objective 1 states that it is the technical or subject proficiency. Every graduate should have some technical or subject proficiency, succeed in obtaining a career appropriate to their interest, education, and will become productive and valued professional. You must choose according to your productivity and your valued professional things also. And the PEO 2, continue to develop professionally through life. Learning higher education and other creative pursuits in their areas of expertise or interest. So the first programmed educational objective one deals about the technical and subject proficiency, and the objective two deals with the to develop the professionally through lifelong learning and higher education and other creative pursuits. So you are not supposed to stop at the entry level itself. And the third objective we can say is the management qualities, the leadership qualities in a responsive, ethical, and innovative manner. Any student can become a leader. And of course, all the students are leaders too. This objective also should be kept in mind when you are taking for a graduate of arts and science colleges. And what is the OBE outcomes? These outcomes for POs, PSOs, and CEOs, we call it as programmed outcomes. POS means program outcomes. What the student must know and are able to do after graduating the program. Okay, a student joined is a graduation. What the student must know and able to do after graduating the program. It is common to several departments, every department in arts and science. It is common to several departments involved in the program. The students' action must be mentioned that they are observable and measurable. So the students' action must be mentioned that they are observable and measurable. POs are expected to be aligned closely with graduate attributes. As I clearly mentioned about the attributes of graduates, with graduate attributes, and the program specific outcomes, what the graduates of specific UG and PG program should be able to do at the time of graduation. So this is specific outcome. The program outcomes is what the students are able to do after graduating the program, and what the graduates of a specific UG or PG program should be able to do at the time of graduation. So at the time of graduation, what they are specifically about to do. Please note that a department can differentiate its program through its program specific outcomes. We call it as uniqueness or distinctiveness. And third one is course outcomes. What students are expected to know, the attitudes they are expected to hold, and what they are able to do so as a result of taking a course. So what they are expected to know. Suppose they have joined in a graduation program, a BA or BCom or BSc, whatever it may be. So the program outcomes deals with what the student must know and are able to do after graduating the program. And the program specific outcomes, it deals with what the graduates of a specific UG or PG program should be able to do at the time of graduation. And the course outcome is what students are expected to know, their attitudes they are expected to hold, and what they are able to do. This we can say, as per in psychology, we call it as the change in behavior. What the change in behavior, the difference between the entry and the exit behavior of the student differentiates the change in behavior. So here the graduate also should have the outcomes in program outcomes and the program specific outcomes and course outcomes. Then only he can able to distinguish this. And we will discuss about the program outcomes. Graduates of a professional institutions demonstrate a service orientation in one's profession. This is outcomes of a student after choosing a program. Graduates of colleges participate in various types of employment, developmental activities, public discourses, particularly in response to the needs of the communities one serves. So this is the program outcome of the graduate when he enters into the graduate program. And graduates of universities participate in the generation of new knowledge in research and development projects. And graduates of state universities and colleges must, in addition, have the competences to support national, regional, and local development. So, as I mentioned, the student must know, and they should be able to do after graduating this program. So after graduating their program, they must know what I am giving you the sample program outcomes of general higher education programs. Student of all graduate general degree programs at the time of graduation will be able to do critical thinking, take informed actions after identifying the assumptions that frame our thinking and actions, checking out the degree to which these assumptions are accurate and valid, and looking at our ideas and decisions from different perspectives. This is the program outcome of 1. And effective communication, speak, read, write, and listen. These are all the listen in language skills, we can say LSRW, which should be have clearly in person and through electronic media in English and in one Indian language, and make meaning of the world by connecting people, ideas, book, media, and technology. And what are the program outcomes for BA, BSc, BCom, BBA, BLit, MA, MSc, MCom, MEd, and MBA, and Master of Literature? So here we have to demonstrate the knowledge of the course they applied and apply the principles of the same to the needs of the employer of the institution, enterprise of the society, and to gain analytical skill in the field and area of their perspective degree, and demonstrate the professional ethics, community living, and nation building initiatives. And these 3 can be common to all the departments. The rest can be added by their respective departments when it is needed. Conduct investigations of complex problems, modern tool usage, linked with the society, environment and sustainability, ethics, individual and teamwork, communication, project management and finance, lifelong learning. So these are most important things we can keep in mind. And what are the course objectives and outcomes we can see? A course objective describes what a faculty member will cover in a course. They are less broader than desirable goals and more broader than student learning outcomes. So the objective of will have this describes about what the faculty member will cover in a course. And the outcome is a detailed description of what a student must be able to do so at the conclusion of a course. We generally map the objective to the outcomes to analyze and document their attainment. Please note, the objective is more like a plan or roadmap to reach or to attain the outcomes. These are the statements that describe what students are expected to know, the attitudes they are expected to develop, and what they are able to do as a result of taking that particular course. Typically, 4 to 6 course outcomes are identified for each course. Remember, the major domain specific outcomes written using action verbs, which are specific, measurable, and can be demonstrated by students on completion of the course as already seen. Course outcomes should aim to develop higher order thinking skills in each domain of learning, evaluation, synthesis, and analysis are the typical examples of higher order thinking in the things. And action words for outcomes. We have to use all these good action words to compile, to include in expected learning outcome statements. So our statement should have these action words: compile, identify, to compile, to identify, to create, to plan, to revise, to analyze, to design, select, utilize, apply. These are all the important action words which we can use in designing the statements of outcomes. And there are some verbs that are unclear in the context of an unexpected learning outcome statement. So know, be aware of, appreciate, learn, like this. And these words are often vague, have multiple interpretations, or are simply difficult to observe or measure. And guidelines for fixing course objectives. Outcomes must measure something useful and meaningful. Outcomes must be consistent with program goals, core curriculum, outcomes, and within the university and institution vision. Hello? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, somebody is speaking to. Madam, what is the time allotted for me?
Sir, I think we can conclude the session, sir, because we have time for discussion also then.
No, they still, we have to enter into the learning outcomes also, no? It's okay. Let students let the discussion session enter.
Sir, will you continue this for 10 more minutes, sir, so that they have any queries, they will personally mail you.
Okay, madam. See, in fixing the guidelines for course outcomes, we must measure the outcomes with something useful and meaningful, and it must be consistent with the program goals, core curriculum outcomes, and within the university and institution vision. Why I mean to tell you all these things is the educational system exposed the students to a part of curriculum over specific time period, and at the end of the session, generally what we do at the if a student enrolls into a college or a university, at the end of the year an examination is taken and the grades are given to the students, despite considering the fact that all the students have attained mastery of the content learned. We are not worried about that. So this viewpoint and approach of education system needs to be transformed. This viewpoint and approach of education system needs to be transformed. Why? Because we must be in a position what the graduate, what the student has attained, whether the student has attained the role of leading his life in future with the expected outcomes. And outputs is not merely attaining good results, but a clearly focused and organized education system around what is necessary for all students to be able to do at the end of their learning. So the teacher should keep in mind the output is not merely attaining good results. Every institution can say we are having good results, but we should clearly focus on the well-organized educational system around what is necessary for all students, whether they are able to do maximum at their end of their learning. And this outcome-based education has appeared as a chief direction for educational reform in major Western countries, say for example, China, Australia, and United States. Students of current generation do not want to develop only the theoretical basis. This is the present trend we are seeing. Students of current generation, they do not want to develop only on the theoretical basis, but also they are seeking an educational approach where the focus lies on future employment. They are focusing on future employment. So the approach had gradually won a lot of supporters from their nations, from other nations also. So this approach had made the total globe into one picture. In South Africa, I can able to say this outcome-based education model was selected and introduced because the stress in curriculum was particularly on factors like problem solving, idea generation, skill acquisitions that aims at developing clear thinking and competent citizens. Now the students are in a position to know what they want and they're aiming for what they need. Whereas if you're able to see in some countries like Malaysia, the transition from conventional teaching, the conventional teaching approaches to focus students on learning outcomes is eventually gaining importance and a significant feature that cannot be overlooked. My dear participants, this outcome-based education has recently gained much attention in India also. So it is used in education because it clearly focuses and organizes everything in a what is needed, what is necessary for all the students to be able to do after their graduation or after their post-graduation. And educators also should show, they are also showing interest in understanding the key factors that affect student learning outcomes, and they're focusing on the delivery of knowledge. The delivery of knowledge and skills in way of necessary for their integration into the public and economy. And the government is focusing on all these things. It has been realized. Now the world educators are learning and they are telling that learning is not merely the knowledge delivery. It is about involving the cognitive process of knowledge generation strongly influenced by the cultural, societal, and emotional factors. So the educational system in India is still dominated by the traditional teaching process only, in which defined curriculum is taught to the students using conventional teaching methods only. We have to come out. We have to come out the conventional methods. Therefore, the aim of this faculty development program organized by the PVKN Government Degree College is to highlight the education system in India and the need to shift from teacher-centered to learning-centered to have this fruitful and wonderful basis. And so for that, we have to design a strategy. The outcome-based education is having some strategy. It is designed by combining some of the operators and the key terms related to review of the objects where competency-based education, active learning approach, and outcome-based assessment. These three are the important strategies which we have to keep in mind. And as per the Washington Accord, we can say that the Washington Accord is an autonomous agreement. It is an autonomous agreement between the national organizations and that grant external accreditation to territory educational programs. This Washington Accord is the main thing which makes the graduates to meet the criteria for access into professional practice. So the signatories comments as a well-defined procedure, all these things. This accord assists mobility of graduates between the nations and to deeper understanding and recognition of their course education and their accreditation system. So these are the most important things which we can have in our outcome-based education. I thank the organizers for giving me the wonderful opportunity to speak something before you. Thank you, one and all.
Sir,
Yes, madam.
sir, as we are running short of time, if any online participants are interested in asking, you can ask one question, please. Rest of them, I will share the mail IDs. You can ask, sir, through the mail, please. As we have another session for today, we are requesting the participants to mail your queries to sir, and we allow one online participant to ask a question. If there are no online queries, we'll give the chance to offline participants, please. One offline query, sir.
Good afternoon, sir. Really, it is a wonderful lecture, sir. My query is, what are the key issues of higher education system, like peer pressure, over commercialization of Indian education system, and the political interference, poor governance structure. These are my observation. What is your interpretation of all these aspects, sir?
Yes,
The
sir.
issues
What? Yes, sir. These are all the major important factors as you observed, and as you said, not apart from all these things, we are having the quality is also not. We are not able to provide good quality and infrastructure, and we are not able to provide good faculties also to all these things. That's why the new education policy, the national education policy, the draft education policy and the national policy of education 2020 is focusing much on this, right from school education to the university education. So the political influence should not be in colleges. The financial influence should not be in the colleges. Every student should treat in a similar way. So this corporate culture should not be involved in all these basic things. Then only we can able to get a good graduate with his own perspective mind, with his own blossoming mind to serve to this nation. And for I can also say that research is not very perfect in our country. When we is able to see most of the theses, 80% of the theses are copied. The students are not in a position to draft a thesis, draft their statements, and they are unable to identify the problems which are moving around. So as a teacher, we also should give focus on this also.
Thank you, sir. Now I request the rapporteur of this session to sum up and propose a vote of thanks. Dr. Chakravarti Gondiala, Assistant Professor of Political Science.
Good afternoon. I would just like to kind of summarize the just concluded session on identifying the outcomes and teaching learning activities in outcome-based education by Dr. P. Janardhan Reddy, Associate Professor, Bharathiar University. At the outset of this session, Sir has rightly pointed out the challenges that are faced by the higher education system in India, which has certain lacunas like gross enrollment ratio and certain other problems which include lack of fundamentals by the students who come for higher education, lack of communication skills, lack of English skills and all that. Sir has rightly pointed out the weaknesses in our traditional educational system and the need for outcome-based education as a solution for the ailments of higher education system. he rightly pointed us to review our efforts by adopting Bloom's taxonomy and to follow criteria, referenced assessment, branding, and benchmarking. Sir, we have to agree with you when you say that illiterate of the 21st century is not somebody is somebody who can't learn or unlearn or relearn. And we must also kind of agree with you when you said that while you teach, you learn, because teaching is a both-way process. When we teach in the classroom, we kind of learn from our students. So teaching is not just a one-way, monotonous kind of thing, right? And your kind of presentation on vision and mission of outcome-based education is wonderful, sir. And how outcome-based education emphasis on ends, purposes, learning, accomplishments, and results. You used Spaddy's school of thought to deliver your point and asked us to develop knowledge, skills for to kind of get best outcomes. And that outcome-based education approaches is also really a wonderful thing. There are, as you said, two kind of approaches. Transitional one, which is academic outcome oriented, and the more important one, transformative approach of the OBE, which is kind of gives emphasis on social concern. You also rightly pointed out on the attributes of graduates, which include competency in domain that they are covering, their kind of confidence, aptitude to excel in whatever they do, congruence, creativity through critical thinking, ethics, and so on and so forth. You gave a well understanding on how curriculum should be designed. You have rightly mentioned that the curriculum design is a challenging one. It must be a challenging one to the student, but at the same time must be something achievable by them. And you also spoke about multiple levels of intelligence, which include cognitive, emotional, social, spiritual, moral, environmental, and other things. The key concepts of outcome-based education have been covered by you, sir, which include vision, mission, and how it must be kind of reflected in the course outcomes and program outcomes. You spoke at length about program educational objectives, POs, and COs, and guidelines for fixing such COs using Bloom's taxonomy. Really thankful to you, sir. On behalf of this institution, on behalf of my colleagues here at PVKM, I'm really thankful to you. And it's a grateful thing that you are an alumnus of this institution. On behalf of this institution, I would like to thank you for your wonderful lecture, sir. Thank you.
Sir, thank you very much, sir. We follow your suggestions to write course outcomes for our institution courses, sir. In future also, we take resources from you, sir. Kindly guide our faculty for writing course outcomes, sir. Since we are in the beginning stage, we will take your guidance, please, in the future. Thank you very much, sir. And we'll take short break and join for the next session by 3:45. Thank you.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, madam.
Thank you, sir.